Have you ever felt a little overwhelmed by all the things that you have to do? There was this point in my life that I remember thinking, if only I was my own boss again. And I say again because I've been my own boss several times. But I remember this was before I started Shock Your Potential and Kukwa Biz. And I remember specifically thinking, if I was my own boss again, I would never feel overwhelmed by all the things that I have to do because I will be in charge of all the things that I have to do. I was an idiot because it simply is not true. In fact, I think when you become your own boss, you are actually a worse boss to yourself than you are to the people that you lead because you expect more out of yourself. You drive yourself more. You drive yourself a little crazy. And sometimes you can drive other people crazy. So I thought this was interesting because I had a weekly call with one of my team this week. And one of the things that she had shared with me is the sense of, not knowing how to juggle everything, how to plan her day, how to plan all her tasks. And she said, I just got this down where like I have a schedule. I know what I have to do on each day. I complete extra tasks. But then I've got all these other people who need things from me. And sometimes I need things from people like you, Michael, and you don't always deliver them on time, which side note is that's another thing is when you're the boss and everybody needs things from you to do their job and you don't have time to get them all done, you feel a little guilty. Deep breath, breathing in, breathing out. Yoga Dog reminds me that I am still responsible for all those things, including my own insanity when I overbook myself. So she and I had this great conversation. We didn't get into it very much, but I thought this was a great topic for today for this motivation. And why specifically? Because I'm also trying to take some time off this week and enjoy spending time with my mother, whom I have not been able to spend much time with since a little thing called a global pandemic. So, planning my days and weeks and months, I'm going to tell you some of the things that I do to keep it in line. And I'm going to tell you some of the things that I still don't do well because I can't pretend. Well, I mean, I can pretend, but I'm not going to pretend like I do it all perfectly because I don't. There's certain things that I don't do well, but things that I continue to work on that get better the more that I practice them. So let's start with what I do well. And then I'm going to tell you how part of this doesn't work very well. I've told you before, if you follow me, that I work off of notebooks. So I've got notebooks and notebooks and notebooks. And usually I work off of one notebook and I fill it up and then I move on to the next notebook. Right now I'm actually working on two notebooks for a specific reason. One is because I want to keep everything that's in this one notebook away from everything else because it has to do with the podcast. And I want to be able to easily go through, finish the tasks that I have outstanding with them and rip those pages out and have them not clutter things up because what I don't always do well is deal with the clutter that happens with all of my notes in little notebooks. In fact, these I didn't really care for, but I had no choice to get them a couple months ago. And I really actually like to have a really nice, beautiful, in this case, kind of like gold leaf kind of bound. It almost looks like a leather bound book. It's not, it's some sort of pleather. But these that I have really formally are for everything that I do. Those are my business thoughts. Those are my to-dos. Those are notes from meetings with my team. They're thoughts. They're, just brainstorms. They're everything that has to do with business. Nothing that's personal comes into any of these. But what I do well is I do well having the journal and keeping things fairly organized. And what I also do well, although I'm a little behind on this, but I'm getting on an airplane in a little bit, so I will be going through them, is going through and crossing off everything that's done so that I feel like mentally that page is done. And then anything that's still outstanding that's important gets transferred onto our task list. And anything that's an outstanding idea that I want to still deal with gets moved into this book until I have some place to put it. So I complete books along the way. In fact, it's interesting. I actually keep all the books. I wondered about why I keep them all the time. But the other day I remembered that something from this journal several months ago, even though I had crossed all off and it had all been done, I had really been as something that I wanted to consider later. And even though I'd written it down somewhere, I wanted to go back and remember what I was doing around that time and why that seemed important. So I went back and pulled that journal out and used it for some reflection. So those, when I die, there's going to be like 10,000 journals, and somebody's going to say, "What are these?" and throw them all away. But they are how I keep organized in terms of my thoughts. Now, thoughts are one thing. How do I organize my activities? So, a couple things that I suggest, and I suggest to my team, is to consider a Friday, Monday planning time. And that Friday, Monday planning time is this: that before you shut down on Friday, that you take time to write in your journal, in your, to-do list, wherever you want, the things that are still outstanding that you want to make sure that you accomplish. So whatever from this week you didn't finish that wasn't urgently needed to be done this week. So in other words, if it was something that needed to be done by Friday, then it should be done by Friday. So finish that before you call off for work. But if it was a thing like I wanted to have it done by Friday, but it really needs to be done by next Wednesday or whatever, then, or we don't have a specific timeline, then make sure to take that over and put that onto your Monday organization. We're going to talk about what that is in a minute. But you take Friday, you take that, half an hour where no other distractions, and you just reflect on the week. What did I get done? What did I not get done? Take time to pat yourself on the back for the things you got done. Take a moment to just embrace those successes and feel good about it. But also take time to say, what didn't I get done? And what does that mean? What do I need to pull over? But Monday, the first thing Monday, before checking emails, before checking your phone, before scrolling on Facebook or Instagram, take that time to review what you need to accomplish in that week. And you might not think this is like, well, gosh, Michael, that's fine. You have to-do lists, you look at them, whatever. No, this is about conscious review and conscious preparation. So Friday is a conscious review and Monday is conscious preparation, to be really clear about what needs to be accomplished during the week. Now, other than that, I'm a big firm believer in blocking times on your schedule that are for work time, specific work time, for specific projects. So, dedicated writing time, dedicated time to do public relations, dedicated time to, in my business, dedicated time to work on your, daily tasks for that day. I have certain things that I ask my team every Friday. So that's kind of some recaps of something that they learned that week. That's, their weekly numbers, all those elements. So you want to make sure that there's time blocked to do those things so that you get them done before they're due, and getting really ahead. But until you block schedules, I used to resist this. I worked for a company where we talked about this a lot, and I tried to get my people to do it. And I was really resistant to it because I said, how can I do it? My schedule is changing all the time. And then I realized my schedule is changing all the time because I don't have time blocked. Duh. You know why there are meetings scheduled all the time? Because I let them. Guess who that falls back to? Falls back to me. So as we think about all those other elements, when you clearly review every Friday and reflect on what you've done, you clearly consciously plan out your week and be prepared on Mondays. You take the time to block certain times in your schedule. You will not only get the things done you need to that are the normal, but now you have bandwidth to handle the things that come at you last minute. Now, here's the secret to all this, is that my team member who is sharing this with me, it's not like out of the blue, she's getting new things thrown at her. We all get new things thrown at us. Most of the time, I'm throwing them at people. It's not that that's what makes her stressed or makes any of us stressed. It's the fact of, how do you do all the things you're supposed to do and deal with new things when you feel like you have a plan pretty well in place for the things that you're supposed to do. And my key is, if we're really planning on when we do them, then we won't feel that stress. We think we do, but we really don't. Now, again, I'm not going to tell you I'm perfect on this, because I'm not, but I'll tell you one single thing that I did this year that has made the greatest greatest impact on this part of the process, which is up here in my head. And that's those stress response to those things. And that is this: I blocked my schedule every morning, Monday through Friday, between 8 and 9. Do you know what I do between 8 and 9 every morning? Every morning, I drink coffee. Hmm. Here's a secret: I just drink coffee. I watch TV, watch the morning news. I might scroll through, a morning. There's the skim that I like to read, which is kind of like all the world news skimmed down to just a couple brief little stories. I like that time. I'm not highly effective between 8 and 9 anyway, especially until I've had coffee. But during that time, that's also my time where I'm thinking through. I'm preparing for the day. I'm not looking at my agenda. I'm actually enjoying the moment. I'm clearing my head out of those other things. And I'm taking that time just to have space in my head for everything else. And when I sit down a little bit before 9, because usually I have meetings that start at 9, I am clear, and I always have a couple minutes to review the day, take a look at what's coming up, review the notes for whomever I'm meeting with at that point in time. But that time is it's like decompressing. It's like when you shut down your computer or your phone long enough for everything to kind of like fully close down. That's my time. And what it allows me to do is get myself prepared for the rest of the busy day, the things I have to accomplish, the things that are going to get thrown at me, and the thing that never ends, which is the email, which I hate. In fact, if I could make email go away, I would. I'm on a mission. I'm going to try and figure it out. But here's my last words of wisdom for you, I guess, and my motivation for this week is: to plan means to really plan, not just talk about plan, not think you have a plan, but really to evaluate whether or not you have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, start with one part of the plan. Don't worry about creating the 10-step plan or the magical calendar that's going to solve all your problems. Start with one place that gives you space, one place that gives you time to be organized, but that it's always focused on getting your head and mind cleared to get the work done. When you find that one space, you'll want to find more. I have every day at lunch cleared off so I can have lunch with my husband, which starts in 2 minutes. And when I have that time, I'm also better able to decompress from my day and start my afternoon without the same stress. So once you've had the first thing that you've blocked, block the second, and then the third. And pretty soon, your daily expectations will run that much more smoothly. But guess what will run even more smoothly? Your ability to handle the things that get thrown at you, because you know what? You'll have space for them. Have a great week.